no one knows, no one knows. We all woke up in the upside down, turning inside out, like we've all been led astray. We've been standing on the outside in, trying to find our friends, like we're all just cast away. Feel like we've been missing.
Hi there, you guys. This is Lexi and Jeff Mamora back with another Beyond the Biohacking with Ricky Leaks. Hi there.
Blessings.
Blessings. And thank you so much for joining us. This month is going to be a little bit different. We have a spooky month on our hands, and we are going to be talking about real life zombies in our matrix that we are sharing this beautiful world with. I'm excited.
I'm excited. Yes.
You just told me that your old handle was like de-zombie. What was it? It was a cool word.
Yeah, it's my old hashtag is dezombinize yourself. So all the protocols in healing, transmutation, transforming, parasite cleanse is to dezombinize yourself, dezombinize myself. So we are becoming less of a zombie.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I thought about getting ready for this little video and I wanted to do the crazy zombie makeup and everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go as a modern day zombie. I'm going to dress up purposefully in a way that I don't normally look. So let me go over my outfit really quick. It's hard to see, but once you see, you can't unsee the zombie. Okay. So ever since the 60s, before the 60s, women of all races, we took care of our hair. Hair was a big thing. You got your haircut, you had to roll it nightly. That sets it for the next day. It's all called a process of like teaching your hair. We don't do that anymore. After the 60s, which is when the military industrial complex did a lot of weird, shady stuff with other nations, we stopped caring about our outward appearance. And it was cool at the time. It's a rebel at the time. But now, 50 years later, now we have this thing where we have women who throw their hair up in a messy bun. I have a million videos of me wearing this. So I'm saying this with love, explaining that we don't take care of ourselves the way old humans used to in years past. And nowadays, we are humans that don't take care with etiquette. We don't take care of I've seen people not taking care of themselves. People aren't even taking the right type of water, drinking the right type of water. Like it's down to the part of the apocalypse where people are not, they're not there. They're not focused. They're not in the moment. And what it leads to is wearing a made in China headband, which is slave labor. It's a very, very old one. It was bought when I didn't know any better. And I found it at the back of the closet, just like I found an old sports t-shirt. This is probably the most zombie thing I have. It's just a baseball t-shirt. And it's also a baseball t-shirt of a state that can have 2,000 mules prove that an election was completely frauded, but not do anything about it. You can't be more of a zombie than that, right? So you're oblivious to truth, but you're spending your time at the baseball game and you don't really care about yourself. So you might have skin problems, which means you need to put on makeup to be a different person than who you are. I don't have these eyebrows normally, but now I do. And this is the modern zombie look. We are so used to it that everyone is like, what is she talking about? But if you were to bring any person from any type of human history, recent or far away, they would think I look crazy right now. They would be like, you're going on live TV looking like that? Like what? Or they would be like, I know you. You don't look like that at all. So this is explaining how used to zombies we are. Okay. So some of the stuff we're going to talk about is stuff that makes your stomach squirm, and that is explainable because you probably got worms in there and they know that you're talking about them. So they're going to be squirming away. And it's so funny, isn't it, Jeff? Because when I think of a corpse, I think of worms inside a corpse eating it.
Yeah. Decaying bodies.
Yeah, decaying means not healing. So if someone has an unhealable disease, they're a zombie. They're not healing.
Or they chose not to heal themselves, so they allow themselves to decay from the inside out.
That is precisely right. So let me jump on over to our Canva that we made for this month. And to remind everyone, if you go to Ricky Leaks Rumble, you will see a plethora of videos, usually full moon videos of Jeff Mamora and I talking about how to heal yourself from everything we talk about today. So I want to start off with people realizing everything is transmutable and you can change.
Yes.
The one constant is actually change. So good to remember. Okay, Zombies Among Us. My favorite zombie movie in fiction is actually Shaun of the Dead. It's just a funny movie. And it starts off with basically a zombie apocalypse is happening, but no one notices because everyone is on their phones looking down. When you're at the store, no one's really paying attention. No one's in the moment, which is a really big part of the movie. Like, we don't realize how close to zombieism we actually are. So when the virus does come, or the mRNA changing device does come, we don't even know it happened. So that's really important. And you were talking about something that is totally true. We're seeing a change of the mRNA right now. Mark Zuckerberg has said it on TV that he doesn't want his staff taking the vaccine back when he was making all of us take the vaccine. So I'll insert that clip right now. But really quickly, basically zombies, they don't have a good working, well-working beating heart. They don't have any memory recall. They eat human flesh. They smell bad, and they lost their ability to speak.
Gibberish.
Yeah, they
like
speak gibberish.
The current rap hip hop right now.
Oh, it's so gross. It's not even music. It's not.
No. Yep.
What we're going to be talking about a little bit later is the mRNA vaccine as of recent, but it's not the first mRNA vaccine. I hear that a lot. They actually did try this with H1N1, and that was quite a few years ago. So I do believe they know what it did, and that's why they gave it to the masses. And it's something we deal with all the time. Master Jeff is the person I would go to if you are especially in the Southern California area, but he does long distance healing as well. And Jeff, can you explain to me kind of this idea where just simply changing our 12-strand DNA, how it can really take us off course of what we're supposed to be?
Well, yes, biblically, as a lot of people kept saying, the truth is, it's going to be biblical. My approach is always everything in all aspects, right? Biblical in what sense? It's sometimes literally. So when we say in the Bible, like the people that's going to be saved is doing this 144,000. I feel that's basically is the confirmation, the one that have DNA intact. The 140.
There's a scientist that was studying the human genome, and he studied it for over 25 years, and through much study and research, what he comes to the conclusion of is the human genome is made up of the DNA, the double helix, and each side of the helix has 72,000 genes, which combined makes 144,000 genes total in the human genome. Now, for those of you that know anything about the Bible, you know that's a number God uses. So that's a signature from God right there. That's his signature. And combined, they make 144,000. They're connected in the middle. It looks like a twisted ladder, the double helix. Now, this new technology they come out with introduces the third strand. Through mRNA messaging technology, it actually breaks a strand and puts in a third strand, which creates a triple helix. Go look at the Queen's ceremony. You'll see what she did. She kind of told the world what was going on. Go look at the lighting strand. The queen, I forgot the name of the festival, but the queen lit a third strand of DNA. I mean, a 3-stranded DNA, a triple helix. Anyway, so if you have 72,000 on each side of the double helix, on each side of the twisted ladder, there you have a strand that runs down the right side and one that runs down the left. One strand is the mom, one strand is the dad of that subject. And that's 72,000 per side. You add that together, you have 144,000, a signature from God, showing you are created, you are created by Him. Now you add that third strand, you've placed in now another 72,000. Now you have a triple helix. Now people say, well, this thing that's going around the entire world that everybody's choosing to get is not the mark. Well, let's look at that number. 72,000 per side for the natural genome is 144,000. Add the third strand in, it equals up to 216,000. The number of the beast is 666, or as the Bible states, 600, 6. Now, multiply this. 600 times 60 times 6 equals 216,000.
4,000 is basically your DNA strand. So the mRNA is basically adding instead of 144 is going to be, I forgot the sequence, is going to be 060606 is going to be 666.
It messes up. It's sweet. And we have 12-strand DNA.
Yeah,
and this
so
is
basically,
what it's
but the number is going to be 666 with the mRNA vaccines. And that's the, I forgot the actual computation of it, but that's basically what this vaccine does.
I actually know what you're talking about. I'm going to pull it up on the final. Yes. Yeah.
So basically, that's the vaccine does, but that doesn't mean if you're not vaccinated that's not going to happen. The spike protein does, I believe, the same thing.
Correct. Spike proteins have been recorded in every vaccine. That's a big thing that people don't realize. They think it's new and they're like, oh, well, I haven't been vaccinated. Hey, look at my new dog I just got. We have to go take her get vaccinated and walk around the house and spew the things that.
It's the thing also. Now pets are becoming zombies because of the vaccinated owners. So I've dealt with pets that died out of just shedding. I recently lost some people that I really care about just from the spike protein from the vaccinated. So the spike protein is a real thing. You know, I'm not going to sit here and argue and trying to prove like, well, the shedding of the spike protein is the same as the vaccination, but I deal with this all day, every day. Mm-hmm. Hundreds of cases in the past almost 3 years now. Just like last night alone, I was doing distant healing and I was like for a good minute, like sick. I was purging for the person. It was remotely, you know, like hacking, purging and all that, like sinus burning, the whole thing instantly. And that's remote. And that's what this spike protein does. So if it's everything remotely, the vaccination, it is required maybe to have like a physical, like to be embedded. But
I see.
But I believe everything is like I could transmit light. They could transmit their whatever dark light, whatever you want to call it. But not to be feeling doom and gloom. I mean, without, you know, whether we're going to make claims or not. I've done thousands and thousands of miracles. I help tons of people. You do too. But then remotely, I help tons of vaccine injuries just with water salt gratitude. Yes. That's just to show all this. Like when you're getting information about, well, zombie this, zombie that, don't feel helpless and powerless. We're actually trying to empower you guys watching this.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, that's the thing. So you could actually, like epigenetics, okay, with alignment, cleansing ground, we could rewrite our own genome.
Exactly. And I love that you called this series Beyond the Biohacking, because we're not a detox channel. We're a biohacking channel. We're trying to get your body to do what it's supposed to do naturally. And yes, a lot of those things are detox agents, but they are done in a way that teach you like, for example, I never took certain daily supplements that I should have, even if I wasn't detoxing. And I'm talking about electrolytes, trace minerals, binders, enzymes. And now that I have detoxed, I will always still take those things at night, regardless if I'm doing an active cleanse or not, because I learned that I could have my body needs those things to do its natural cleansing process anyway. I feel like shit if I don't have those things. So
Yes.
you learn a new way to live. And a lot of people think it's giving up stuff. It's not giving up. It's changing your life. You're doing a transmutation of things that could have been done if you didn't learn anything about detox. So I love biohacking for that reason. And you have been a huge part of this. Now, biohacking, the very first thing I noticed, people seem to notice when they're doing, especially I work with a lot of like cancer patients. I'm usually the person that people come to when they've already seen the doctor and they realize he's fake. They've already seen a naturopath and they realize the naturopath's overweight. They don't think there's a way out. I'm usually that person that they talk to.
Yeah.
And we work through wormwood. I love just doing simple wormwoods. I love doing oxidizers. We've learned about methylene blue recently. There's so many different little things that people are trying on a microdosing amount of. And the very first thing they come back and say is like, how clear their mind is, how focused they can finally be for the first time. And when you send me a new C60, oh my goodness, sometimes there's like C60s that you send me that they are made specifically for like autism kids or whatever. And
Yeah.
I can get so much done. I am focused. I can memory recall things from like when I was 12. It's like limitless, literally.
Yes.
And that's a huge part. Can you talk on what you've noticed with the dementia, Alzheimer's, that ability to recall past memories?
Yes. So basically, we're going to go back to basics, okay? We are talking about we are beings of light, and these parasitic stuff is basically they're feeding on us, okay? Anything that is feeding in, there's not a two-way street. They're non-conducive, so they're just sucking the life out of us, literally. So these parasitic energies, when I say that is in all forms, biological energy, your own old patterns, but let's say we're talking about viruses, which big part of the parasitic families. So they basically feed on the ATP. So these viruses feeds on the ATP that the mitochondria is making. And this is why we call it beyond biohacking. With gratitude, with conductivity of the light, when they're feeding on, so they're feeding on the energy, but guess what? Your energy is transmuted pain, transmuted darkness. So it is actually going to whack them.
Oh.
That's why with my teaching, that my simple teaching alone, spiritual cleansing ground, or getting remote transmission, my light, my Shakti blast, people will actually start hacking instantly. How many times you started having heavy metals detox? That's because what I actually in my findings, okay, this is not an opinion. What's holding the heavy metals are the negative, you want to call it demonic, whatever, is basically negative energy field that's holding the metals in the tissue. And the viruses that turn people to zombies are part of that. So when this energetic field is being blasted, transmuted, the body has enough light to automatically detox them. You feel it right away with my transmission. Now, so these are mitochondrial functions. So your mitochondria, it's like the engine of the car. Let's say you are a car, mitochondria is the engine of the car. The horsepower is basically the light that we are making. We are beings of light. So majority of the mitochondria, 70, 80%, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, it is in the brain.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So when you increase the mitochondrial function, It is proved by mental capacity and cognition improvement. That's why my first thing is alignment. You could do it with water, salt, and gratitude, so you could actually able to discern beyond the thinking. Because a lot of times when you just rely on your thinking, quote unquote, is the parasitic energies make you think certain thing and then make you think that it's your thinking, but it's not.
Can I please say something right there? And I
Okay.
just came to it this morning. Cleanse yourself before you trust your thoughts. And when you realize that you might be a zombie, this is why I say this. And it's not making fun of anyone. It's explaining my personal journey. When you wake up, you look for people outside of you to tell you who you are. That's a big thing. And then on top of that, or you listen to the voices in your head. And this is the danger of having a parasite that has the ability to mess with your mitochondria. That means that they're using you as a host. That means that if someone used to tell me, oh, you're from the Pleiades and all this stuff. And I made my image off of that. But then I'm pretty sure I did a cleanse where I flushed away one of the Pleiadians, and I stopped feeling that urge to connect myself there. And then everyone, I could hear 10 people going, if you haven't done a 3-month-long cleanse, and I don't mean oxy powder, I mean big hitters. I'm talking about C60s. I'm talking about chlorine dioxides, hydrogen peroxides. I'm talking about for 20 days a month for 3 months. Then you really don't know who is giving you these knowings about yourself. And you might your vessel might be holding something that is not from here, and you might not be that consciousness. And that's something important to remember. You
are a different type of zombie.
Yes.
That's why we're doing this talk. So it's not just zombie that, so you are, that's simple teaching. What I say, you are what you feed. So if you're feeding, if you're feeding that consciousness, right? If you're feeding that, you are that zombie. And that's why discernment is key. How can you discern if you don't know for sure it is conducive or not? Exactly. That's why the first thing I ask people before they receive my love and my healing is to let go of their mind. Yes. Because the mind is not always feeding what's conducive. And this is just like a side note. A lot of people said, oh, let me sit with this so I could process it. I need to process this. Like most people that's addicted to their old pains and their old patterns, they need to sit with shit for days and weeks. And here's, if they don't do parasite cleanse and do spiritual cleansing ground, similar to what I'm teaching people to do, the key is if you don't process truth as truth and you don't process truth as truth in truth, then you're just regurgitating shit and then you're processing shit as gold and then you become just more of a zombie. Oh, that's very true. The processing, the way I see it too, is it's giving that bug that much more time to speak its lies into you. And then like you said, you just believe it. And well, that's why you need to know, is this conducive, not conducive? And these are discernment moment to moments. We all been there when we assume we are this, we are that, or this is this, this is that. That's why, again, my simple teaching is what? Never assume. Yes. Everything's dynamic. Nothing is static. Nothing is an on and off. Everything is dynamic. Never assume. I love that, especially because us as truthers, you have people in the group who are like, no, it's definitely this way. If you're just talking about anything in the world, it can be about fictitious Greek gods. And you'll have people who are like, I know for a fact that this is the person. And then someone right after them has just as much conviction that their Greek god is correct or whatever the case is. And it's just hilarious because it's like, you don't know. No one knows. And if you pretend you know, then that tells me now I know that you are feeding a parasite that is pushing an agenda. And we see it all the time. We see it all. I always can see 3 different options at least for any one outcome. And I'm always just like, hey, we're on the ride, observe. And while we're observing,
Do a detox. It'll make
Well,
the whole
here's the thing.
process
You
easier.
observe. Here's. Let me give you like some uh, key applicable. This what I teach is applied spirituality. Okay, observe, do not absorb.
Love that. Okay.
Feel, do not feed. To feel is to let go. So you could actually feel something, and it's not just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's like, oh my God, that's painful. Thank you. So I could let it go.
And I don't have to feel it ever again.
Yeah. And then once you let go, then all of a sudden your whole body will shift. Some people get taller, lighter, detox more. Some people start throwing up, whatever. And that you start expressing light. And that's why I always say coherence. So zombies equate or equal incoherent or incoherence. Non-zombies are coherent. And when you are coherent, you're able to discern what is conducive and non-conducive. And another tip, instead of, let's say, people arguing, well, I'm this, I'm that, this and that. Okay, that's cool. If you're conducting truth with more truth, then you're conducting more light. With more of that, you are conducting coherent light. You're able to actually do certain things, like healing yourself and help others do the same. It doesn't matter what you feel, what you need to bring in, whether this is my role, this is my purpose. How much impact are you making at this moment? That's the key. How much impact are you making at this moment within yourselves, your families, people around you? Because if you are conducting truth and what you need to be conducting, you will actually have a direct feedback. It's like what we do all day, every day.
Yes.
That's how much you're in that. Let's say I could be doing a lot of different things, but then I focus, let's say recently, just, I've been doing a lot of transmission to Florida and people that are actually suffering.
Yes.
And people actually got better and massive miracles and transformation remotely. And I'm going to do, this is just a direct plug, I'm going to do a complimentary transmission for people in Florida and all the shit that's attached to Florida. I just recently uploaded a testimonial of the lady that received massive miracles through my transmission, and she's a therapeutic sound healer. So when you basically cultivate light, you become less of a zombie, because zombie equal darkness and negative. Okay,
Yes.
Move on.
What is this? Just more. I just have proof that everything we're talking about is true. Something I want to talk about. Zombies are smelly. Now, this is something
Ew.
that I know because they're decomposing and they're full of worms. This is something I want to talk about. When you start detoxing, I am so happy my husband did his huge detox at the very beginning of COVID. So when your armpits are detoxing of years and years of all the bad stuff they put into deodorants, and not only deodorants, but the armpits are a huge part of your body anyway that get rid of toxins.
Yes.
So the smells were things you would have never smelled before. It smells like a decomposing body. When you're detoxing, that is a great sign, because that means all those toxins are getting out of you. And I will say these past like 3 summers or so, I wear a crystal stick. It's a Thai crystal stick deodorant. I really like that. And it doesn't keep me from sweating, but it doesn't smell like anything. I love it. It's just really, I like it. And I haven't used anything else. I don't smell bad anymore. When I wore my deodorant, everyone thinks of hippies smelling bad because they don't wear deodorant. Okay, they've probably never detoxed, so they're slowly detoxing, which is why they usually smell that way. And the normal person, if you go 3 or 4 days without wearing deodorant, you are going to start naturally detoxing. That is not how you will smell forever. I want people to know that, because now I don't smell bad. Now I can like work out and I don't smell putrid. It's just sweat. But like before, I would work out and I would like smell really bad when I was a zombie. So that's like a thing to realize. Everything with detoxing momentarily gets worse, then it gets better. And then you'll never deal with it again if you keep on with protocol.
Yes. And I don't have BO, but then like I think last month and recently when I detox heavy, and it was like I thought it was someone else, and I was like, oh shit, it's me. I was like, dang, I was like, this smells bad. So it's just like,
You're not used to it.
That's like what, first thing, just like like human nature, trying to blame other people. No, it was my ass that was stinky. It's like, oh shit. Like, yeah, you could shower, but then guess what we do? Then you could detox more.
Good. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up, because when I do smell smelly, and it's usually after I go out in groups, and you went to Florida, weirdly enough, recently. So I could see that picking up a lot, but it's always when I go out in groups, like the next 2 days, I do smell smelly. And I'm like, what I do is I make chlorine dioxide in a bowl and I soak that, and I just like place paper towels, and it's killing and it's pulling anything that's coming out. It's making it better. And then I have face masks that have bentonite clay, and I'll put that on my underarms, or charcoal under my underarms. And that helps grab everything and keep you dry for a little bit. So that's what I do to mitigate that. But
yeah, and then make sure you increase your water and minerals intake. So with us, increase the glutathione level is important, so you could detox more. So when you're actually having this body odor and this and that, and that's not saying that it's bad, it's a good thing, but don't just trying to figure out how to not smelly. Detox better, a lot lately, most of the time, even remotely, when I do lots of exorcism, because a lot of people getting spontaneous exorcism with my healing remotely, they start burping.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about, let's say for a full session, sometimes take an hour or two, it would be like a few hundred burps. Now just imagine all that gas, all that, and this is like becoming like a pattern. And that's how much stuff that is stuck in the liver and gallbladder. Yeah. And a lot of people been getting gallbladder attacks. And one lady kept commenting on my post, and I told her just to pause because the liver and gallbladder needs to be on pretty good condition before they do an oxidizer or a parasite cleanse. And the burping stuff, this and that, is digestion. Just imagine the gas that was in their trap, and then you burping like 10 times, 20 times in a minute, and then it's like 2 hours, worth of time. Just imagine how much stuff you're releasing.
Oh my gosh. And so funny.
This happened a lot, especially throughout the years. It used to happen back in the day more. But then in the past few months, right now, it's like at least I get 2 or 3 like that in a week. And that's just to show how energetically people are plugged there, and not necessarily just biologically,
Yes. What I've noticed, because things do happen in waves where you'll hear about like one person, and it's not even so much like a sickness that like, okay, it's contagious. Of course, no, I'm talking about like the past 2 weeks, a bunch of people, like 3 of my friends and people I'll talk to, because I'm talking to people all day, and they all tell me, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just had a tooth be chipped or fall out or whatever the case is. Like, I've been talking to people the past 2 weeks and everyone has a tooth problem. But I know that when you did all your C60 stuff with me when we first met, I did kind of have like abscess stuff a little bit after you had abscess stuff from the teeth and gums. And it's the liver meridians are right there. The liver is pushing stuff out. So I can totally see how people are having weird teeth problems because
the eyes and purging from the eyes, from the liver.
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing that a lot. That's very interesting.
Very interesting.
Exactly. Oh, okay. This is where yummy.
Num.
Okay. This is where we go into fiction hardcore. And yes, people, I do call the Bible fiction here. And it's a book. It's been edited. So with cannibalism. Okay, let's go back. Hold on. With cannibalism, the Bible tells us not to eat pork. And a lot of people use that, like, we can't even skirt around it. A good half of the world is in agreement that eating
Yes.
pork is unhealthy beyond any means. And I never understood what that meant. And it means a couple different things. Pork, I'll put pictures in that I'm thinking of later, but pork, pigs do not have the ability to sweat. So they cannot, remember, we just talked about how important it is to sweat to
They
get
don't have
these
sweat glands.
They don't have sweat glands. So that's one of the biggest ways humans, just beings, get rid of their toxins. So that's already sad because pigs can't get rid of toxins through sweat. And pigs have this wonderful ability. They're great composters. They will eat anything, including human bones. They can eat through human bones. So if you have human bodies that you need to get rid of, in essence, you could give them to a pork farm, and you could get rid of evidence of there ever being bodies, because pigs have a great way of eating through the entire animal. Pigs are the other white meat. They are very, very similar to human meat. If you look up what human meat tastes like online, everything says pork, like exactly, we're identical to pork. If you look up fast food companies, they all in real life have, the whole meat industry is based off of how much human byproduct, human genome can be in their products. And it's always like less than 10% or something. Like, that's not a small amount, you guys. Why is there any human genome in our meat supply? So there's all these weird things that you see when you're a truther and you're picking up here and there. Jeff told me about, what is it called? Coke, Pepsi, finding human genomes. I was able to find some proofs for Pepsi, not for Coke yet, but a lot of people are in the rumor mill that the dark brown sodas have human genome in them. And probably one of the grossest things to understand about WikiLeaks, I'm sure that's going to be another big subject here soon. Basically 33,000 emails explaining buying humans. We don't know if it's fiction yet or not, so we're going to consider it fiction, but basically there's 33,000 so-called emails explaining the selling of pizza. But it also was going in line with like humans being sold and children being kept in cages. So it gets really weird because pizza, when you open a human body, you have skin, and then you'll have blood, and then everyone has fat on them. So yes, it looks like a slice of cheese pizza when you are eating human. So that is why a lot of cannibalism and stuff in conspiracy land is always going around pizza. Let's get off of that screen. Go on.
Let me add real quick. I posted an interview of a rabbi. I forgot his name. While he was literally telling us anything or anyone that is not within their circle, they look at us as cattle. I'm not sure about the Jewish term goyam or golam, something like that. Mm-hmm. And in this interview, he was basically talking shit to the interviewer, saying that you guys are nothing. I feed you your babies. What do you mean? This is, I posted this interview. It's just an audio, but it's, the picture of this rabbi is there. It's basically, they control the money, they control the food, they control the plants and all that, the crops. So they're being actually putting babies' flesh in, in fast food burgers and stuff. And he actually saying it out loud, just straight up in the interview. I forgot the rabbi's name. I posted a few times in the past. It's a few years back. But if you guys look it up, and that's what we're talking about here. When we're talking about cannibalism and this and that, it's been going on every day for many, many years. People just don't know about. There's only a few people that talk about it. We talk about it. And if you eat human, and that's the definition of what?
Zombies.
There you go.
There you go. No, it's true. And with this talk, since I talk about killing parasites so much, you always have the person going, but you guys eat living stuff. So therefore we're all zombies. It doesn't matter. Balls to the wall. Let everyone eat living life. But here's the thing. I will post a video that Jeff and I did with Nicole Frolic, and it was all about mitochondria. That's a really cool topic. And the thing is that mitochondria has this little tiny organelle in it that is exactly like plants' photosynthesis organelle. So, and there's also all these little rumors, usually Indian men, who have gone decades without eating or eating flesh, eating plants. And what they say is that they do have like some kind of salt thing, and they do get sunlight. And of course, they're not like the healthiest looking people. I'm not going to lie. Like these little guys are all shriveled up, but they're alive. And apparently they haven't eaten anything in decades. So what they say is that they get their energy from the sun, and that they can pull a sweet nectar when they're sun gazing. And that sweet nectar is what they use for nutrients. And I think he said he eats like dirt or something, which would make sense for trace minerals. I don't know what that
Shilajit maybe will,
Yeah, it was something like that. So I'm not saying we should all be doing that. We are in a matrix system. We have to play a little bit longer. I totally get that. But at the same time, I think our bodies are capable of getting nutrients and power from different sources other than crops and animals. And I can tell you, plants feel pain just as much as animals. They just don't have ways to show it. There's plenty of studies out there that explain that plants do kind of like scream and move away when they're getting hurt. So it's a very real thing that we have to realize that we are doing. And giving gratitude and giving thanks to food is very important for this reason, because you are taking life source from something.
Okay, let me add real quick, okay? Because I deal with this on a daily,
Yeah.
So I got in a kind of like friendly debate or not so friendly debate with vegans, because they have this God complex. It's like they're doing everyone a fucking favor for some fucking reason, which is just being super egoistic and prideful. I mean, just because you're a vegan, if you don't like this, I don't care. That doesn't mean that you are better than anyone. Mm-hmm. And here's how flawed the thinking of, if you're a vegan, that you are better than anyone. Okay. First of all, the veganism creates so much suffering. Millions of animals are dead because trying to create monocrop.
Oh my God, what's that?
Okay. Number two, we're in the spiritual movement, truther movement, detox movement. Okay. You already know. We're talking about exorcisms. We're talking about even non-living things, spiritual stuff, energetic stuff. They actually have emotions. They have consciousness, and they don't even have an actual 3D physical stuff. So the argument is that, plants doesn't have a nervous system, this and that. Like, who are you to say they don't have? Maybe you just don't know. You see what I'm saying? The key is knowing that we are consume life, period. Because when we basically died and decomposed, right? Beyond the dead zombie, whatever you want to call it, right? And so we are going to be eaten by bacteria, worms, whatever you want to call it, right? Decomposing. We are going to truly decompose, okay? So what I've learned is a lot. That's why you need to bless your food, bless your water, and be grateful. I even teach people that sell a lot of money using essential oils to actually extract the light, but it requires gratitude and certain breathing technique and my alignment technique. Because what is essential oils? If you're using essential oils, and that's a very painful stuff for the plant to go through the process to get the oils to you.
I was thinking of that. Ooh.
Okay, so then I tap into this. I just went through this call before this call right now, when the first thing when I was tapping into the consciousness, let's say of eucalyptus oil, or let's say any kind of pine, and then when you're able to connect with gratitude, that's when you're actually able to tap into the consciousness and their defense mechanism, but it is in light codes and in light transmission. You don't get to actually get the real stuff unless you are actually giving thanks, because they suffer for what you have, and that's just the way it is. It's not that you becoming noble because, oh, I'm a vegan and this and that. You don't know how many innocent lives were slaughtered just to provide food or this monocrop for the vegan stuff. I mean, I help tons of vegans, and they're the hardest people to heal because they're lacking.
Yes,
They're
I've noticed
lacking.
that.
They're lacking certain key components,
I will
And-
say I work with several different vegans, and they all get on the phone with me, and and I'm like, listen, just think about bringing eggs. After you said that, I'm like, just
yes.
bring in eggs. And they all whisper into the phone going, yeah, we definitely eat eggs. But like, if they're very vegan people, and they all whisper to me, so they know, these people know. I'm just
The
saying.
thing is, it's like, and especially these are the same people that's fanatically trying to alkalize the body, which I'm against, especially the stomach, and they're the one that has with the most parasites.
I know.
And it's the same people when it's like, oh, I just went to colonic, they got like a whole bucket of worms. Like, who says shit like that?
Wow.
You know what
no,
I'm saying?
I believe you. I'm going to try and find it. I did a whole research dig that I actually recorded, because you have to record yourself doing the research, because once they realize what you found, I just did it actually. They completely get rid of their search results, so no one else can look it up. But basically, I filmed myself looking up the top vegan studies on Google. And I pulled up basically the top 50 vegan studies that have ever been done. If you ever talk to a vegan, they will show you one of these studies all the way back from like the early 90s. And I trace how each and every fucking study was paid for by Bill fucking Gates. And there is not a single damn vegan study, unless it's been made since May of 2022, that is not funded by Bill Gates. And I showed how he either gave the grant to pay for the study, or the person who was actually doing the study was directly working for Bill Gates on their LinkedIn. So after seeing that, I'm like, nope, you cannot tell me that veganism. And yes, I have also talked to people where like they need to be vegan for a little bit of time for whatever reason. That's not what I'm talking about, you guys. That's just a diet that you have to be on to calm down any allergy while you work through and heal it. That's not what I'm talking about. That's a good thing. Definitely do it. You need to do it for a little bit. I've heard that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not eating honey, which is a very huge health factor because it's made by bees. Not eating eggs, which is the number one way you can detox yourself with glutathione, because you won't eat. The eggs aren't even fertilized. Nothing is. I can't.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, let's just go back and then get some. That's part of this cognitive dissonance that I'm getting like a block from them. It's like this: just step back, get over your ego and your pride, okay, and then look at the pattern. The cabal is pushing no meat. If the cabal pushing no meat, that means you need meat. You don't need what else do you like? You don't need to be a neurosurgeon to get that. And when they're actually pushing veganism, this and that, you already know. Like when the cabal pushing veganism and if they're not, or trying to get you to eat fucking bugs, you already know that's not good. But the number one, all these food plants that got burned down, they're all meat processing.
I've noticed, yes.
And then they even so you already know. And we are like, if you like say, one of the first person that I looked up into the becoming more healthy was David Wolf. He made a video. He's a vegetarian, but he said, if you're not going to eat meat is superfood. You have to have like proper nutrition. Just because you're not eating meat is just like, I was brought up 7-Day Adventist. That's like red meat was like a sin. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go through that. I teach my students, my direct students that is in heavy protocols, for for about a year or two, they will become close to veganism.
Mhm.
But it's not to actually become vegan. I call it the no-face diet. It's for
Yes.
you to discern energies when you eat. You could actually discern energies. Because when I was going through this stuff, I almost became a vegan, by the way.
Me too. I looked into it hard.
Because I would actually cry and felt the pain of, let's say, eating a broth with the chicken. I would actually felt all that stuff. But it's just, that was actually a process for me to feel stuff. That doesn't mean that is it. This is why we go back to the zombies. If you assume what you need to process, you're fucked. And I got to this one point when I realized, okay, so this is for me to go through. So I know I could have to feel, I could transmute it. So I could bless it with gratitude. So I actually help the suffering of this thing, because suffering's everywhere and everything, in everything. Yes. So you could actually be part of it by consuming that in gratitude and give it a purpose. How do we transmit things?
Give it a purpose.
A purpose. Amen.
Oh, I love it. Don't assume. I love all the little, we really, really need to do a sit down chat and just learn from you, because you just have such a good process that you can't go wrong with if you follow the rules. Take a guide, like see how you are and write down how you feel. Get your ass with some salt water if you can, go out and see the sun, and then let's talk, and then let's do this. And like I said, I do know people who had to be vegan for a little bit, and I love the no-face diet. That's a beautiful way of saying it. Thank you. Yeah.
So real quick. Okay. So when we have strong feelings, it's just because we go through frustration dealing with, I call it the God complex people. Mm-hmm. Okay. So don't take this as an attack. It's just because I went through it myself. The difference is I have discernment. I mean, look at all the biohackers. I mean, Dave Asprey went through the same shit. He got sick badly. I've helped tons of people that got sick trying to be a vegan. And it took, some couldn't really reverse much because they didn't really want to invest in to reverse all the hormonal stuff. A lot of the hormonal stuff got really damaged.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, especially women. Especially women. I mean, a lot of them actually have issues now trying to conceive.
I see that daily. All my friends who are my age, I mean, Rick and I have been together 10 years this month, and there's been no babies, and I completely am part of the generation that is part of the Bill Gates Depop, and this is how they do it: GMO, genetically modifying foods.
Yeah, and then the delusion of like, oh, my dog is a vegan. Get out of here. That's abuse. That's the same thing. The same thing with babies. Okay. Especially when you're preggo and then you're not getting amino acids, like, you know, that's the thing. So I have my own whole holistic approach of things. That's why, like, on the opposite side, there's a carnivorous diet, right? The Liver King now is a big thing, this and that. Yes. Do I go with that 100%? No, it's everything is in balance and customized. Yes. So let's just be coherent and stop being a vegan zombie.
Oh, I believe it. And stop being the other kind of zombie that eats people. So stop ordering pizza.
or eat nothing but meat also. But guess what? If it's conducive for you and you make sure it's conducive for you, and that's fine. Yes. But it's not, there's nothing static, and you know, one thing is for everyone.
Yes, exactly. That leads me to a couple things. Really, we're at the vaccine talk. And when I was thinking of like, what does a modern day zombie look like? And I just saw those vaccine lines early 2021 wrapping around the buildings. And I'm like, that is a horde of zombies. And they all have a look to them. I'm not going to lie. There is a look to people. And it's funny because ironically, the vaccine, when I look at pictures of myself, I was on one of the front pages, ironically, when I was a Democrat. I was on the front page of the election night. I went to the Republican National Convention, and because I look Hispanic, like Telemundo took a picture of me, and I'm big. I am just a big girl, and it's all in my face, and it's all just like it was a bad picture. And
Mm.
I know now I can see it. I'm like, okay, that's my hormones are just messed up. And I know I've lost X amount of weight since then. But that look that I had, now I can see in other people. And now I know it's purely I saw what came out of me after that picture was done. So I know what caused it. And the funny thing is, like, that is also what a zombie looks like. If you watch any zombie movie, they puff up because they can't, they become inflamed and they're decomposing. So that's what dead bodies do. And I look around and I see, I'm not being mean, I'm not calling people fat even. It's like, we just are full of shit and worms, and that is a real life zombie. And it's also vaccine injured.
And then there's the other opposite that looks like skin and bones. You know, that's when the parasite basically already absorbing so much, and there's not even like fat or anything. It's just skin and bones, you know?
And that's funny you mentioned that. I was talking to someone and I can tell obviously from overweight, because we were talking about someone going to a naturopath and they show up and the naturopath was obviously vaccine damaged. And they were just like laughing and they were like, never mind, I'll cancel the appointment. And before anything was even said. And I'm like, I can tell when someone is so full of parasites by how inflamed and big they are. But also I can tell the traverse of that by when I see a skinny person, like too skinny, I'm like, they got parasites. So too big or too skinny. And I don't know how to explain the too skinny. I'm like, yeah, they're that skinny because of parasites. And then, they're that big because of parasites.
You know, and again, I don't like to use the vegan skinny, but that was what the typical unhealthy skinny, the one that I'm only sharing my experience helping people. Yeah. And the typical vegan skinny is full of parasites. I mean, tons, because they drink alkaline water all day, alkalizing the body all day. And there's not even like acidic stomach just trying to kill the bugs. So the bugs are just like having parties in there.
Yep. And of course, the bugs are eating everything they see, which is why the person can't gain any weight. And when I see that too skinny, the person usually has like over 3 or 4 different allergies, like mega allergies, food allergies. And then they can't eat anything that way. So that's when when I see that, it's just so funny. But what's not funny is if people were not being made into zombies quick enough as it was the past 2 years, we have had something come into the heart attack realm that is speeding everything up. And one of the things we see daily, Master Jeff, if you can talk on this, what are you seeing change in people's heart health with this newest experiment?
Again, let's just cover the basics. Vaccinated people have really, really, I mean, every day I see a lot of people are dying. Okay. So without getting into the conspiracy stuff, you could do your own research. We've been talking about this daily for years. The fibrogen increased the viscosity of the blood, and you almost to have like this self organized, like they could put themselves together, becoming a thing. Okay. This is why the water, salt, gratitude, and breathing was important, just by saying, that that vibration would actually increase nitric oxide. I mean, I even have a tuning fork that I could actually trigger in certain point of the meridian system, especially in the back of the skull, to increase nitric oxide. Stuff like that is important because this spike protein, whether you're vaccinated or not, your blood will actually get thicker. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's so sad. So many people have heart attacks, kids, dogs, blood clots. So, and here's what most people don't really be mindful about. This is not about the heart attack. This is not about that. That's just the majority of symptoms. Okay, it's majority of the symptoms, but it will actually attack any of the weak areas. If you have any compromised areas, it will attack that, because it actually have this fibrogen and clots, and the heart is the main pump, quote unquote. Of course, it's going to have that as the main symptoms.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's That's basically it. It's all based from the spike protein, based on how the spike protein being triggered by negative thoughts and emotions. These spike proteins are energetic in nature. Your thoughts and emotion respond to it. So people can get sick by not maintaining alignment of gratitude.
No, and the gratitude is just absolutely huge. I can't get it through people enough, and I've worked with enough people of my own, and I've seen what you talk about finally, to where I watch our videos like 3 times each, just the video editing process and everything, and things will be said that I didn't catch the first time, and getting it that second time is like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I have this video recording. And then I'll start like herxing, like bringing stuff up.
Yeah.
And it takes me back to when I first ever worked with you, and you're like, let's get a baseline. How do you feel now versus the end of the call? And that's what I keep thinking about, because I was there already. And what you say is, if you can be grateful for having me, or whatever, be grateful for the experience, you will literally trick your body to going back to the experience, which is the entire movie of Butterfly Effect. Ashton Kutcher looks at a memory of himself with the intent of going back there. That is literally like what gratitude is like.
This is why claiming your blessing is important. I've been trying to get some of this to other people's action. Been doing lots of miracles, and they're like lagging on giving testimonials and to get claiming the blessings. They don't realize it's for themselves, because your whole existence, let's say how many times people claim their misfortunes? Every time you do that, you are what you feed. And I explain, like, if you claim your blessings and you create a testimonials, especially if it's a miracle, right? It create this positive vortex. So this
transverse wave. Now, as we hold this hose here, sideways flow, you can see that it takes a finite time for this transverse wave to propagate from one end of this hose to the other. You can see there's a finite time. That finite time is the speed of light. And that is what we're considering our limit in the electromagnetic world in classical theory. Okay, now Eric and I are going to demonstrate the longitudinal wave, the one that travels infinitely faster than the speed of light and has no losses. just jerk it like I said. As you can see, if you move one end, the other end moves instantaneously. There is no time delay as there is with the transverse wave. And it's very important to pay attention to that, because that's the one we completely ignore. That is the pressure wave essentially through the ether, as it was. One way to describe it. But you should remember that little demonstration, because we spend all our time looking at just one of 2 waves. The transverse wave is unfortunately the one with the losses. The longitudinal wave is the one with no losses that we don't even acknowledge exists. And that's also the one, I might add, how our minds transmit between each other. And that's the one that cells use to communicate with each other. It's the one that nerves use to communicate with each other. I have a more interesting chart. I'll use Eric's chart here. As you can see, if you were to stack these cells up here side by side of number 2 here, this is the transmission line with the capacitors in series and the coils in shunt. If you put another one here and another one and another one, what you find is you have 4 capacitors in a little cell-like structure. You have 4 capacitors, a coil shunt, 4 capacitors, a coil shunt, 4 capacitors, a coil shunt. It's my theory that the capacitors are the cell membrane of the cells next to each other, and the coil is probably DNA, would be my guess. And it is a guess, of course, but I've done I have a feeling that's how the nerve fibers work, and also probably how life itself develops energy from the ether and scalar fields. Of course, the concept of the ether was banned, when was it there? 19...
Einstein.
Yeah, Einstein, yeah, basically. Einstein knew how it all worked. was not allowed, shall we say, to divulge it.
That's how I fight the dark side. Now, how this has anything to do with vaccine injuries? Everything. That's how actually the base thing that I fight vaccine injuries is actually energetic and spiritual in nature. Without gratitude, there's no catalyst of the light. Okay, okay, we'll talk about vaccine injuries. We'll talk about blood clots, heart attacks. A lot of kids are dying. I mean, it's sad, but what can we do? Just you breathing correctly with alignment, with what is gratitude, and claim blessings. Your body is actually in a coherent state and you're producing light that is coherent. Okay, just you breathing in and out from your nose, you're making nitric oxide.
Yes.
Okay, so that is just that as a basic of that. And if you continue claiming your blessings, the more light and the more positive expression in your mitochondria. So less and less of the spike protein have effect. So less and less of the clots and the fibrogen that could form, because the fibrogen and the clots, they still form in the energetic way.
Yeah.
This is what people need to start accepting. These are energetic things. So the energetic and spiritual things dictate the biochemical reactions. That's why grounding is important, but then the spiritual grounding even more important. That's why the mineralizations is important.
Yes.
Now, what can we do? We could go back and watch what we could do, like the C60.
I'll put all of our videos that are good.
You know, and then especially carnosine. We talk about carnosine. We talk about beta alanine, stuff that would actually repair the stem cell, this and that. But this is just, we're going to continue to go back to that basing and claim your blessings. You know, that alone, and let go of it. And another thing is to maintain that. So are you walking your gratitude? Because you're going to get tested. Let's say this happens almost every time. If I actually did a massive exorcism on you, right? And then I ask, okay, make sure you give me a testimonial to give this amazing miracles, like claim the blessings. You need to give credit where it's due, because credit where it's due, that means truth. No truth, no light.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing when you're doing research, where do you do? You're basically claiming truth.
Yes.
Right? Let's say if you help someone to beat cancer, they need to give you credit because God sent you as a pathway of truth and light.
And we have to be okay with the fact that they have free will. And if they don't choose to realize that you did it, then they're going to be sick again. And they're going to have to learn it until they get the freaking lesson.
I prefer not, because the lesson.
I know, I prefer not to.
Yeah, but because what people people can get over themselves. There are bigger things than them. Mm-hmm. This is why their egoic mind, and like what I said, the way you process. Now, so when there's more of this, there is no limit the way your body heals, even vaccine injuries. I've done countless of vaccine injuries cases remotely. But it's not like, okay, Jeff, can you send me healing? Can you just send this clearing? I was like, what do you mean? Get your ass up. I need you to do this and that. Oh, I thought I could just pay for some. No, it doesn't work that way.
That's why I don't do too many. Yeah.
It's like, no. I was like, oh, I have this blockage. Can you just clear it out? It's not, yes and no. You need to actually do the work, because we have to give it a purpose.
Yeah.
How can you give it a purpose if you don't give credit where it's due?
I believe it. No, I've seen it. I have witnessed what happens when you don't realize, either give proper credit to the healing or to not stay in the gratitude of the healing that you got. And it's to the point now that if I get sick, I get excited. I'm like, oh, I'm getting it out of me. Whatever's in me, I'm getting it out.
Yeah.
And now I give the purpose of feeling yucky 1 or 2 days. I give it like a different purpose of feeling, oh, I used to like just bitch and moan and complain about feeling sick. And now I'm like, oh, I'm so excited that I'm finally, bringing all this stuff up from wherever I'm doing. And like, I changed that. It's happening anyway. And I change it into gratitude. But these people, you talked about it earlier. If they keep processing, and what's going to happen, exorcisms are not fun, people. Look at any movie with an exorcism. It's a little bit scary because ultimately a demon, you are killing a demon, you are pushing a demon out of you, and that demon is going to fight back. And if you don't, a lot of people let their demon come back because they love their demon, and that demon goes, baby girl, no, Jeff is trying. Yeah, stay away from him. He's trying to get rid of me. And they don't even realize this is happening. And they just sit there. They're like, yeah, Jeff's the bad one. So then you're here going like, yo, bitch, I cured you. I got rid of your like demon. And they're with their demon going, we don't need you right now. And I see it happening. I see it happening freaking daily. So these demons are scared of us. They're on their last freaking leg. And the people who do have the ability to realize that this detox is for the like, it's warriors. The people who are doing what you and me are doing, we are the World War III soldiers, and we are going to be what's going to, I believe, anchor this energy in. And I am talking about legitimate energy. You were talking about electromagnetic fields earlier. We are electrical beings. That is why they are literally on our mitochondria, our powerhouse, our electoral system, because we are beings of light. They're stealing our electricity. So we have to work like electrical grids, which means you need grounding wires. There are parasitic entities to these grounding wires in just regular like electricians that they deal with. So we're dealing with that too. And we just need, I believe, 144,000 to ground all of this. And some people, they're just not able to hang. And I hope to God we can get the information out to the people who can do the work and who can kill their demons, because with each and every one, this whole thing is getting, each zombie that kills their demons becomes a less of a zombie, and it makes it easier for the whole, I believe.
So can I add a little bit? Okay, so here's the thing, right? Dezombinize yourself. The more you're less of a zombie, you're becoming more of the light. And then once you transmute it, like the reason me and Lexi is doing this, it is actually sharing real findings. These are not theory. This is not regurgitations like other people just regurgitate fucking informations. I'm sharing thousands and thousands of cases that I've done within myself, others, and before my spiritual awakening and after my spiritual awakening. So what we're sharing is actually our own transmutation experiences. We're doing this because of we are doing our transmutation in the process at this moment, and we've transmuted our perceived pain and suffering.
Yeah.
So less of a zombie, you're becoming medicine. You're becoming the walking medicine instead of walking zombies.
Walking zombies. That's so cute. It's true. Everyone who watches us, you guys are getting our healing. You guys are getting the detox that we're doing both right now because it is a full moon.
Yeah, because we're transmitting. We're a transmitter. We're a conductor. We are conducting. We are the conductor of the symphony, and we are the conductor of the energy. So that's what we're actually teaching is be responsible of what you are conducting and transmitting. What you are broadcasting, casting.
Listen to the words of the music. You brought it up earlier, all the trash that's considered music nowadays. But I have this favorite little band, and like in 2017, they have a song. It's really catchy, but it's called I'm Weak, where they just say I'm weak over and over again. And it's like, it was one of my favorite songs. And I'm like, oh my God, I listened to it the other day. And I'm like, seriously, people are just saying I'm weak. What's wrong with that over and over again? I'm like, that is the worst programming. And that goes into your words, casting spells. What words are you saying? What are you listening to? A lot of music makes people angry, which is what we're talking about right now. With zombies, like we had anger problems before this, and yours, I've heard the stories, and it's just like, it's a completely different person than you are now. I can't even believe your life. I cannot wait for the autobiography, because it's just absolutely fabulous, the stuff you've gone through. But some of that stuff was anger. Would you mind explaining how your anger changed when you really did start learning about transmutation and the real health?
Perfect. But before I get to that answer, let me just go back real quick to get some serious. When people want to have actual healing for the blood clots and the heart stuff,
Ooh, yes,
we have the actual, like the typical stuff what we said is going to work, but we have the new carbon 60 aerosolizer that's specifically to diffuse the fibrogen and Lyme cancer and all that. So that's just to let people know it is actually accessible. But the spiritual work and the energy work, it is important. One thing that I kept getting this typical pattern, and I'm not saying any kind of religion, Christian, whatever, that is always pray to God to make them feel better. Mm-hmm. That is the wrong way of praying. You need to cleanse and ground your emotion, and your mental health is your responsibility. If you pray to God that make you, do me, don't make me sad, don't make me less anger, that's victimhood. There's no healing there.
Because you're asking him to do it.
You need to work on your own shit. You need to own your shit, work on your shit, and you're in this certain level of consciousness, then you pray. Okay, that's how I transform addicts.
I want to say something to that really quick. People always say, go to God, and I'm number one about God, but I'm like, God also told you that you're the salt of the earth. So go deep, drink some damn salt water, and then pray to God. So
yeah, and that's part of it. This is why we go back to the water, salt, gratitude. And that's part of it. So, okay, now moving on, we're going to talk about this anger stuff. Now, anger, one thing that I would like to cover real quick, all quote unquote negative emotion serves its purpose. So to feel anger is not bad. If it's a righteous anger, by all means. We're talking about pedophilia, we're talking about pizza, you're upset, do not suppress. Don't sit there. And use the intensity in application, give it a purpose. So that's how you transmit anger. So the intensity of anger, you feel empowered. You feel like, I want to do something. Like, I want to smack that fool. I want to punch this dude in the mouth because he's talking shit. But feel it, let it go. It's non-conducive. And then use that intensity instead of like say, okay, I want to smack this fool in the face. It's like, okay, well, how change the content of the emotion? Don't lose the intensity. That's how I transmit anger. Let's say if it's about digging of truth, use it to dig. Okay, so if it's about healing, this and that, it's like, and then it turned out the anger, when you dig deep, is actually anger towards self a lot of times. And then that's the forgiveness part.
Projecting. I love it.
Yeah, and a lot of times when I'm really angry at a person, a lot of times it's actually I was angry at myself because I allowed certain shit to go on.
That's true. You feel like, yeah.
So this is the thing of self-reflection.
You don't even know what the anger is about necessarily if you're in the moment of anger too.
Yeah. So I'm grateful. So when you feel angry, whatever that you need to let go, feel grateful, and then you could see the purpose of it. And then there's deeper layers. Then you let that go, and it's just poof and gone. And if you dealing with liver, gallbladder stuff, the anger is going to be easily triggered. Because I was a functional addict, alcoholic for decades since I was 11 years old. Anger is the most accessible emotion, meaning it is the easiest to have access to.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Do liver detox, increase your glutathione, and especially if people have shoulder stuff. Shoulder stuff is to show that your liver is compromised or liver gallbladder. Like when I say the burping stuff.
Yeah. Okay. It's one of the meridians.
Yeah, because we call that organ referred pain. So let's say if you have, if you're dealing with the situation of shoulder stuff, it's the weak energy came from the liver because the liver was compromised because of the anger. Okay. Again, not that the anger is bad, but sitting in anger, feeding it, taking it to a club and having orgies with it, that's bad. But to recognize it as is and give it a purpose, that's the way to do it. Don't suppress, because suppressed anger could be even more harmful to the body.
Yes, don't suppress it.
Internalized anger is even more dangerous. I just had to talk about that before this call. And a lot of times these are older people that's been through a lot. They already had spiritual awakening, but they still have this old internalized anger, and they thought they dealt with this, because it is not something you could just let go. You have to work through it, just like you have to work through your pain. You have to work through your anger, and then feel the anger, and not feeling less than a functional human being to feel anger. It's okay to feel anger as long as it actually serves its purpose. Speak for the voiceless, protect the weak.
Yes. And I want to just explain to the audience, my husband, I'm sorry, I'm a horoscope girl. He's a Taurus sun and a Scorpio rising. Oh, wait, Sag rising, Scorpio moon. So he is just an angry ball of fire if he wants to. So my little Taurus, when he's mad, he's a big bull and he's big mad. And when we first got together, and we've been together 10 years. So when we were young, him getting home from work every day, he wasn't even an addict or anything. He was just mad about this guy who cut him off. And can you believe that they're doing this road work and they wouldn't let me into the lane? And it's just 30 minutes of hearing him complain about his 30-minute drive home. And then if anything blew him off of his schedule, just mad and angry and internalizing, but letting you know he's internalizing. And now, since he's done cleansing and everything, he still has that oomph, but instead now he's like, oh, I saw a homeless man and he was a vet. Well, why isn't it that our city isn't taking care of the vets, but yet they have no money putting all of these illegals that are raping kids into a freaking La Quinta down the street? And now we're by that La Quinta down the street, and now we have rapists. Literally, you hear sirens going off all the time. And I live in a really good part of town that was never very quiet, very much old people. And now you just hear, like, there's a couple rapists by an illegal immigrant the other day. You hear it all the time. But yet there was a homeless man, a veteran on the corner. Was he really a veteran? I don't know. But that's the kind of thing that, like, now my husband's mad and he's doing something about it. He will go and do a dig and then make a video on that dig, and then realize that somehow our military industrial complex was thwarted, and to make all of our warriors who became military people are basically the first zombies. Every single military person, they have to go through MEPS. They get at least 26 injections into the arm to make them a zombie before they even become a warrior. And I hear people going, oh, my son, and my whole family's military. My husband's a military. They're all military. I'm an Eisenhower. They're military. And everyone wants to go. It used to be, thank you for your service. And now I'm like, no, go get a parasite cleanse. You join the military, get a parasite cleanse, heavy metal cleanse. I've over this whole like pandemic thing, I've talked to soldiers, Navy sailors on boats who are gone for like land for a lot of time, and they got the COVID vax, and they're talking to their wives, and their wives know me. And I'm like, yo, I know your naval ship has borax. It's not the first thing I would do. Like, I would have you do a million other things first, but you're showing signs that COVID is like messing you up. Go get borax from the cleaning crew and just put a tiny pinch into warm water once or twice a day. And that's what we're having to do for these poor military people. So,
and a quick shout out, and thank you so much for sharing that. There's so much to that. That's basically it. Like, this is basically what I'm saying. Don't lose the intensity of the anger. Change the content and give it a purpose. And that's why I do so much charity healing. Right now, we're doing a lot of Florida healing into Florida for obvious reasons. And I still offer complimentary healing for our veterans and first responders. And yes, a lot of those healings and protocols are parasite cleanse. But initially, for people that's not familiar about the work I've done, if you're on Facebook, check out Jeff Mamora and the Testimonial album, or even on IG, The Miracle Movement. I mean, you've seen it, you experience it. I mean, I've reduced pain within seconds or minutes in person or remotely, with or without vaccine injuries. And that's what the light, quote unquote, coherent light could do. But it does require gratitude. I posted like some old videos, like a little reel. Check out the Miracle Movement, how emotion is basically energy and motions, and you could just pull them out, and ground it. But then again, this parasitic stuff, if you're going to feed it, it's pointless. So
yeah,
what Lexi basically, I'm going to take it up a notch if you can. That's okay?
Take it away.
So when you transmuted anger like that, so you're creating a healing energy that is actually the antidote of the parasitic. So you're creating, the antidote from the venom. That's what transmutation is all about. So when you do that, and then it's in action, you got to walk your shit,
Mm-hmm.
So when you do it like that, when you're sharing, especially when you're doing a podcast, you're transmitting that. So you're increasing people's consciousness, not just consciousness. Oh, there's a deeper truth. Oh, I could actually do this. And you could be part of the movement, not just the movement in terms of consciousness, but actually in doing, making positive impact. Start with yourselves, right? Transmuting your own anger. We even had a transmission transmuting anger.
Yes.
We made it so accessible for you guys.
I will try and find that and put it right here. Thank you for reminding me.
So we could actually, like, if you're struggling, just have water salt gratitude, and I transmit it, and we have dozens of people since that was a few months ago. We already have tons of people with that video, including vaccine injury, because that's actually for different level of vaccine injuries. So I know which C60, that was actually a diagnostic tool at the same time. It was pretty cool.
That's true.
Yeah. So, okay. So liver, gallbladder is being compromised or being weakened by anger.
Yes.
How do we transmute anger?
Give it a purpose.
Give it a purpose. So don't feel bad, first of all, that you feel angry, but don't feel so egoistic about it either. It's like, do you feel bad that it's like, let's say in the past, it's like, hey, Jav, you hurt that dude. Did you feel bad? Fuck him, he deserved it, blah, 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 blah. Pause.
Yes.
Yeah, it felt good. That's your ego and your pride talking. I've been there.
Yeah.
And then when you let go and you work and you went through the and then it's like, and then you feel bad, like, fuck, and that's when the forgiveness part of it. So you got to go through this process, and then you give it a purpose. Okay, so when you go through this, your experience after you transmuted this, it's not for yourself. This is why stories are so important. This is why testimonials are extremely important.
Yes. Because
you're claiming your blessings, so people could actually receive the same blessings that you are actually receiving. Oh, this is possible. There are actually miracles happening in other people's life.
Yes.
How do I get that? Tap in. Tap in is just with gratitude. So just by doing cleansing of your liver, gallbladder, you will actually have easier time to let go of the anger. By just drinking less and taking less painkillers and all the stuff that's depleting glutathione, it's easier for you to let go of anger. How do I become an expert at this? Because I had rage issues for decades.
I know. And I saw someone the other day on Facebook who was like, I'm just angry. I'm just an angry person. I'm like, no, you're not. Every grumpy old man is a grumpy old man, because it's the most basic ass bitch thing that we all do. We all hold on to it. You're not cool. You're not edgy for being angry. It's not who you are. It just means that you don't know how to use your own magic, and you're just bringing everyone else down.
Well, it's at the same thing. It's basically
take control.
But you're actually, boasting about your unhealed.
I know, it's so gross.
You know what I'm saying? But if you're angry about for a certain topic, be it, like the pedophilia, what I'm saying?
Put it towards something. And I'm very passionate. So I get it.
I go to rallies, I go to the street, and that's another thing to transmute anger. Do something about it and give it a purpose, and someone need help. Like, I'm pissed regarding the veterans. Okay, cool. I'm doing something about it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So when you do that, once you give a purpose of this so-called negative emotion, then you will actually continue to heal and transform yourselves, and your energy is going to be totally different. Your
Mhm.
physical issues actually is going to continue shifting to
Yes.
become better.
And anyone who knows Louise Hay, she says cancer is only because you're angry. It is manifesting into cancer because you're angry. And it's funny, we do our stuff. And of course, these Toxoplasmosis gondii parasites die that first month, and everyone's super happy. They don't have like, I have so many people in my chat that are just like testimonials. That's probably the number one testimonial I have is whatever they're taking their parasite cleanse for, the depression lifts. And there are days where your depression gets worse because you're killing the bugs and they're messing with you. So you definitely have those days. But for the most part, really quickly, you beat depression with just simple water, salt, wormwood, even because this parasite is actually like really small. So it's kind of easy to kill. So that's a good thing to know as well.
Can you go a little bit for people that are new about the toxo? Like real quick.
Yes. Okay. Toxoplasmosis gondii. Every single person has it. It's called the cat parasite, but it's in cats and dogs. The reason it's called cat parasite is because it lives all the stages of its life in a cat. Normally, parasites have to start off as babies here, then they have to jump an animal and grow a couple times stages in this animal, and then it has to jump. But this parasite can do all the stages in a cat. What it does or how it works for the cat is actually a really awesome way of hunting. The cat, all cats go in rounds. Like if they're outdoor cats, they spray a tree and then they'll walk around a mile and then they will revisit where they sprayed earlier. And that is a round. So what they're hoping for is for a mouse to go through the urine of the cat spray. And then that mouse now has Toxoplasmosis gondii parasite, and that parasite will make the mouse commit suicide not far from where it picked up the parasite. So it has been observed that mice will climb a tree and jump from a limb to kill itself in a fall. It has been observed if there's water nearby that the mouse will go over and drown itself. And then the cat comes strolling back and it's like, oh, look, it's a dead mouse. Ow, and it eats it. And then it brings it to you because you're not eating mice. It's like, here's some mice. I bought it for you. And that is how cats have spread this parasite everywhere to everyone. Even if you've never had a cat, you have this parasite. It's very prominent. And the problem with that is, why do we use mice in lab experiments? Oh yeah, because they're exactly like humans, and whatever happens to a mouse happens to a human. So now we have 22 veterans dying a day because they all got 26 shots at MEPS, and now they're all full of parasites, and now they are killing themselves because they have parasites that make them commit suicide. And now we are a nation with less actual soldiers because the soldiers that are healthy are probably still in the military and are being sat on. And then you have soldiers who are out of the military who are no longer of use to the military industrial complex. They have 3 different mental illnesses, a bunch of different parasitic illnesses, and then they commit suicide. So literally, this is like the number one parasite that we need our warriors to kill, because they're probably infested with it.
Real quick to confirm what you're saying. I mean, when you listen to Lexi, my beautiful friend over here, her tone might be joking and be sassy, this and that, but it's serious as fuck, because I deal with this depression and suicidal individuals. Daily. I deal with crisis, okay? And then it is more than 22. And then when you're saying stuff like this is the whole truth. More than 80% when I deal with suicidal veterans, they were never seen the combat. It was not PTSD, what the F so ever. Yes. It was vaccine injuries. I've been saying this shit for freaking ages.
Yes.
You know,
that is so true. That is a huge part, because they all go to the PTSD route, which we haven't had an active war like that in a very long time. So the PTSD cases aren't there. Like 2001 through 2005, when we received a lot of the genuine PTSD cases, That's a long time ago, you guys. That's over 10 years ago. But why are people who haven't been in combat zones for the past 10 years, why are they dying at the same rates of suicide if they're not in combat zones? Like, and the ones that are in combat zones, okay, the 0.0005, like we are not at a war that has put people into that position for at least 10 years. So for the amount of deaths that are still occurring daily from military.
Yeah, and these are reported.
It's ridiculous.
And anything that is reported is underreported.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever work in a hospital, if you ever, even VAERS, if you're, that's a small percentage. So it's more than 22. That's documented is 22 per day, but it's much more. Much more. Okay.
I believe it. Okay. No, we're really done. I also want to say something on that. I saw my husband, who was military, a medic in the military. I saw his anger. I saw his depression when he was out of the military. We did an immediate cleanse, and it was so weird. I have pictures of Rick, who was a stud, like super sexy, skinny, big old mountains. Right before he went into the military, I actually have a picture of him. He did the Spartan race right before he did the military. He did a really good job, really high ranking, went into the military, ballooned up. He gained all this weight. He lost all his hair. He could never pass any of the tests.
Wow.
Because of vaccine damage. And then the second we got him out, I started healing him. He lost, I swear, 75 pounds. He gained all his hair back. He runs everywhere now. If we're out and about, he just sprints. And I'm like, there's no way that guy could pass or could fail a PT test. Like, he is so in shape, but he was not in shape in the military. And I believe what is in vaccines. I know what is in vaccines, and I know what it does to hurt people. And I've seen it, and I've seen someone change when you took the vaccines that were put into him out. So it's something we have to deal with. And then he gets into the real world, and then he goes to work, and high up people can't even do their job because they're not where our society is being bombarded by these zombies. So it's showing on a large scale, another reason that adds to the 22 a day number for military. They go into the real world, and then they realize, I can't work. No one can do their job. No one is held accountable. Everyone has meetings, but nothing gets done, which means that the real life workforce is crumbling beyond repair. So these people also get out of the military, and they can't go find civilian work because they're smarter. They were trained how to actually work for the military, how to get stuff done on time, under budget, and then they go into the real world, and everyone's twiddling their thumbs. No, everyone's angry. No one wants to take accountability. Everyone blames everyone else. So this adds to the reason, other people's actions, other people staying zombies hurts my person who's not a zombie. It's a bigger macro event.
Yeah, because you just basically get sick and tired because we're outnumbered because these are all zombies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a very similar feeling of when you first had your spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah. So really, that's pretty much it. There was this really cute zombie commercial back in the day on Sprint. And at the very end, he just goes, I'm a zombie. And I want everyone here to kind of realize that even if you're not one right now, you're very close to becoming one, especially if you've had even so much as a pork sandwich recently. And this is not to make anyone feel bad. I am simply letting you know the truth that we have seen out there. I'm telling you what we have to deal with daily. And there's some hard truths that we have to just acknowledge and not get stuck in, not get upset and to a point of not doing anything. We just have to realize what we're dealing with. Okay. And since we're talking about fiction, I have no problem talking about the Bible when we're talking about fiction, the same way I don't have problems talking about Lord of the Rings, because I understand how magic works, and I understand how if you put an idea out there in the Matrix, and if a lot of people read it, watch it, sing it, it will become real, regardless if it was real or not to begin with. It might have been a fake story to begin with, but now so many people.
You are what you feed, and go back to that testimonies and the vortex. It's being fed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how demonic entities are attached, because it's being fed.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Exactly.
Sorry, just to add.
So we have to, so this is looking at those demonic entities. What are we feeding? And the same story everywhere is exactly the same, literally. I have a whole series on it, series of 7. But basically, it's this whole idea that we're going to fight a huge life or death, race determining battle, and a lot of people who don't like each other are going to have to come together momentarily to fight a greater evil. And in Lord of the Rings and in the Bible, it says at the very end, right before shit goes down, right before we win, it's going to look hopeless and the dead will rise. And I just spent the past hour explaining how we are the dead. And I have also explained how we are arising from doing certain things and bringing in light and healing ourselves. I didn't even cover Warm Bodies. If anyone wants to watch a feel-good zombie movie, there is a movie out there called Warm Bodies, and it is explaining exactly what we just went into depth about. It is explaining how an entire zombie apocalypse has already happened. The zombies have already taken over the world, and a zombie and a human fall in love. Other zombies see it happening, and this makes the zombie in love, his heart start beating again. And this goes into heart health, you guys. This goes into nitric oxide. This goes into bringing oxygen into our blood to break up. You won't have blood clots if you have a good amount of oxygen in your blood. And this can be done by breathing. This can be done by taking oxidizers. This can be done so many ways, which we cover in depth. We beat it like a dead horse, but this is ultimately what is going to make our dead rise. And it's very much happening. Is there anything else you wanted to add to this, Master Jeff?
Well, thank you so much. And the whole intention of this talk or this podcast is not to be feeding, oh, I am zombies because this is Halloween. It's just to get it to your consciousness, the collective consciousness, that we were one. We were probably a little bit of part of that. The zombie is part of the program in you, within all aspects, spiritually, mental, emotional, energetic, which is your own thoughts and emotion. At the same time, what are you feeding? What energy vortex are you feeding?
Exactly.
And that's how much of a zombie, and what kind of zombie, right? We're not even going to talk about the species of a zombie that we talked about, right?
I know.
But that's we talk about the one that's feeling, oh, I'm above other people just because I don't eat meat. No, you're a different kind of zombie, but you're a zombie.
And that's a funny thing you mentioned. Every zombie video game has at least like 4 or 5 different zombies you're dealing with. Warm Bodies, it shows 2 different zombies. One, is your normal looking like zombie that's a little beat up and a little bloody. And those are the zombies that are able to get their heart started again. And it turns their little black liquid blood, their thick mucus blood, it starts turning lighter red and it starts getting thinner, and their face starts showing pink and it color again, and he starts slowly healing. But in that movie, they explain that there are zombies that if they give up hope, it almost seems like they wither away and all of their skin falls off and they turn into bonies, and you can't turn back once you're a bony. And we kind of see that in our world too, because yes, if you have someone out there who, let's say, has diabetes or cancer, both of those per the zombies are uncurable diseases, but I've seen it, both of them be cured. So that means that the person who believes they have an incurable disease, who is not actively curing their uncurable disease. And no, I don't mean taking something from the doctor. That's a black magic pharmacist. I'm talking about like doing the stuff we're talking about and transmuting all of this stuff and healing, truly healing. So those are zombies. And if they give up, they will die, they will decompose, and they will just be bones. So then you have the bonies, and you can't come back once you're a bony. So that's an interesting thing I got from that movie.
Yeah. So love, hope,
Love.
and that's, it's pretty basics, right?
Yeah.
So and then application, right? Because you have to apply because of you're losing hope and you start withering that anyways.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes. So application and maintaining application, everything's dynamic, and just nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Lexi's not perfect. This is why we're doing what we're doing here.
Yes.
It is to continue to remind ourselves and others and do walk better.
Yes. Thank you so much for ending that. I have a couple questions from the chat that we've gotten over the past month or so. Do you mind if do you want to do a new screen? A new share?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'll take off that part. Thank you so much for joining us, Jeff Mamora. I love you so much. I love it whenever you come on the show, and we will see you.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have a little extra that I'm going to ask in a few minutes, a Q&A. So if you want to know anything, our questions to the comments, watch that video. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you.